Hi, this is Doug at the Doug West Group, and today I wanted to go over some of the disclosures that you're going to need to fill out in order to sell your home in the state of California. So most of the disclosures that you're going to be receiving from us, we're going to send via DocuSign, and those disclosures are pretty much boilerplate disclosures that have nothing to do with your property in particular. It's the same for houses in Southern California as it would be in Northern California. It deals with buyer beware, seller beware, the mantra of disclose, 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 etc. So we put them in DocuSign because of the fact that it's more of just reading over them and just initialing or signing at the bottom. The disclosures I want to go over with you right now are a little bit more specific to your home, and you're going to need to read and think about them and answer yes or no to many of the questions. So here we have, this is called the Seller Property Questionnaire, and this is a generic form, but as we're going through, section 5 was where they start with the yes/no questions. And although most of these questions will be no, some of them can be yes, and it's important that you mark them. Otherwise, we'll need to send them back, or it could raise questions in the buyer's mind. So the first question is, within the last 3 years, the death of an occupant of the property upon the property. So basically, if someone has passed away inside the house in the last 3 years, you're going to need to mark yes. And then down below under explanation, you'll state when it happened. And I would also add if it was a peaceful death, because most of the buyers are going to end up asking if that's the case. Number 6 is whether the property is located within 1 mile of a former federal or state ordinance. That pertains to us down here in San Diego near Camp Pendleton, but none of the houses are near a former state or federal ordinance where actually military training was happening. So in almost all cases, that's going to be a no as well. Now, number 7, if you have an HOA, you are located in a planned unit development. So that will be a yes, and you'd mark simply underneath under explanation the name of the HOA. Number 8, if you have any insurance claims against the property in the last 5 years, you're going to need to disclose that. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be a problem, but they're going to want to know about it, and if you have receipts from the work done, we'll probably be providing that as well. So maybe you should start gathering those. And number 9, it says matters affecting title of the property. You know, if there is some lien that has been taken off on the property, make that disclosure now. Even if it's going to be released, we should, in case there's ever a problem on that, they need to understand that there could be a hiccup in the road. So this is the basics on section 5A. Now, 5B, repairs and alterations. Again, if you had anything remodeling or anything done to the property, you're going to need to mark yes. And on page 2 is where you're going to explain what happened. Again, even if it were a claim with the home warranty, it's not a problem, but you're going to want to have to disclose that. Ongoing or reoccurring maintenance on the property. This could be pest inspections. You just go ahead and mark that. And again, on page 2, which I'll scroll to, you're going to simply state under explanation what it is. Now, most of the homes were built after 1978, so we're not usually dealing with any lead-based paint. But actually, number 3, if you've painted in the last 12 months, so you are going to have to put check yes, and they're going to just want to know, were you painting over any problems? Again, this is all disclose, disclose, disclose. It's to find out if there's any red flags. In section C, it talks about defects in any of the systems or appliances. If there's a problem, go ahead and mark it as a yes. But again, if there's something that needs to be repaired or it can be repaired or you're going to have repaired, you know, then you can raise that question with me, and I'd be more than happy to look into that a little bit more for you. Number 2, it talks about leasing. Now, we've got solar panels being leased now, water filtration systems, all those different things, alarm systems. So go ahead and mark if they've been leased. Other things, D doesn't tend to be a problem. On E, water-related mold issues, most of the time these are going to be no's. But this is one section that I think every buyer does look at because of the fact that they want to know if there was a problem. If there was a problem, you need to mark yes, and you simply need to probably provide some kind of documentation showing that the problem was resolved. Section F, Pets and animals, if you had animals on the property, just simply mark yes and simply write dog or cat or whatever it would be below. Section G with boundaries, that's not usually a problem, especially when we have planned communities. Section H, landscaping, pools. Now this is one that people oftentimes miss, is that most of us do have sprinklers, so don't forget to mark yes and state whether they're automatic or manual. Section I, condos. Again, if you're in a HOA, you probably have CC&Rs. If you have CC&Rs, then you're going to be answering yes to number 2. Number 1, special assessments or rule changes. Normally there isn't, but if there is something, they're going to get the HOA documents and they're going to see those. So it is best that if you know of something coming up, that you are upfront and calling that out. Any questions with the title or legal claims to the property, obviously you need to mark those. And any problems in the neighborhood, you need to mark those as well. Section L, governmental issues. No, most of the time those are no for everything. And the others are typically no for everything also. Unless, well actually, number 2, occupant of the property smoked on or in the property. You'll need to mark that as well. So this would be the SPQ. Going down to the next one is the TDS. Okay, and that's the transfer disclosure statement. This is all just basic information. Now, I marked here some of the more common answers. Again, these, if you have them, go ahead and mark them. If you don't have them, don't mark them. And if you don't mark them, but you have them, it's probably not going to be a problem. For an example, notice I didn't mark rain gutters. Some people have them, some people don't. If you have rain gutters, but you don't mark them, it's probably not going to be a problem for the buyer. But if you mark that you have rain gutters and you don't have them, later on they could come back and say, well, listen, you had said there were rain gutters and we just now realized that we don't have rain gutters. So again, be conservative on this. If you're not sure, you can always just leave it blank, and if we need to fill it in, we can later on. But the first question is, seller is or is not occupying the home. Obviously, a lot of people miss that because it's so small and it's above Section A. Go ahead and answer that accordingly. And then you'll see the ones down below. Exhaust fans are typically in the kitchen and the bathrooms. Gas starter is frequently the stove. Do you have concrete or tile roof? Most people don't have asphalt roofs anymore, but mark that accordingly. Fireplaces, is there one in the family room, master bedroom? Age of the roof, that would be the age of your home. Now, a question that people miss frequently is, are there, to the best of your seller's knowledge, any of the above that is not in operating order or condition? So don't forget to mark that, and if there is something that's not working, you need to describe that below. Page 2, the very top, don't forget, are you, the seller, aware of any significant defects or malfunctions in any of the following? You need to answer yes or no. And if there's just a small little problem with something, that's not necessarily a significant defect. So when in doubt, go ahead and ask me how you should respond to that, and we can discuss it and figure out what's the best response. In section C, most of these are going to be no's. However, number 2 is frequently a yes because most of us have fences, and those fences are shared in common with our neighbors. Also, if there's an HOA, number 12, 13, and 14 are going to probably be a yes. If you have a pool, it's going to be with the HOA, it's going to be a yes. So just be careful when you're answering those questions. And then down below, you're going to simply mark number 12 through 14, whatever the HOA name is. And that's going to do it. So if you have any questions on anything, let me know. But otherwise, I think this will help you fill out those forms. And again, I look forward to seeing them. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.